If you're looking to buy a smart speaker, then the likes of the Amazon Echo and the Sonos Era 100 easily come to mind. But here we have the Edifier MS50A, a wireless smart speaker that costs half the price of the Sonos Era 100, and that makes this an enticing buy. So does it deliver the goods or does it come up short? Welcome to my tech gear. Let's find out. First up is the design of the speaker. It might not be to everyone's taste, but I really like it. In a world where every smart speaker seems to be a slab of monochrome black, well, it's just a refreshing change to have something different. There is a real retro vibe to these speakers that hark back to the days when all anyone had was a pair of good old bookshelf speakers. The all wooden cabinet in a walnut finish just looks and feels great. It's as much a tactile thing as it is a visual one. The top of the speaker has a matte black finish and houses all the physical controls for the speaker. The buttons on the outside allow you to play and pause your music, skip through your tracks going forwards and backwards, and also switch between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth mode. The button at the center of the dial lets you mute and unmute your music, as well as turn your speakers on and off through either tapping or long pressing the button respectively. You can also slide your fingers clockwise or anti-clockwise around the outside of the dial to increase and decrease your volume. This works really well and is actually very similar to the recently released Sonos Era 100, which had a volume slider on the top of its speaker. I do like the circular motion more on this though, as it's just a lot easier to change the volume quickly. Now size wise, it is a good size compact speaker. It's not super compact, but that does allow it to house some pretty decent sized speakers underneath the hood. More on that later. If I compare the size of this to the Sonos Era 100 and an Amazon Echo, it comes in just a little bit taller than the Sonos. If you look at the footprint that the speaker takes up, it really doesn't take up any more desk space than the Amazon Echo. So it is bigger, but it's still going to be just as easy to put it pretty much wherever you like. There's also a fair amount of weight to it as well, with it weighing in at almost 5 pounds or just over 2 kilos. So that, combined with that nice wooden finish I was talking about before, really does make it feel like a top quality speaker. Setting up the speaker is super easy. Now do make sure your mobile phone is already connected to the Wi-Fi network that you want the speaker to join before you start. Once the speaker is powered on and ready, simply install and open the Edifier Home app on your mobile phone, and it should automatically detect your speaker. Allow it to join your Wi-Fi network and the speaker will automatically connect after a short while. Now this speaker supports both 2.4 and 5 GHz bands, which should allow you to get a good uninterrupted signal for listening to your music wherever you put this in your house. You can also link it to your Amazon account during setup, although you can also do that later if you'd rather skip that step. Once it is linked to your Amazon account, one handy hint here, go into the Alexa app and change the name of the speaker, as by default it will be set to something like Edifier MS50A AS12. And if you want to use the speaker with Amazon Alexa, then you're going to have to say, Alexa, play music on the Edifier MS50A AS12 for it to work. And that's a mouthful. I changed it to just Edifier, so you can then say, Alexa, play music on Edifier. Much easier. Now whilst we're here in the mobile app, there's a few other things that you can do here too. You can see all your devices, and for each device you can play and pause your music. You can skip tracks forwards and backwards, as well as change the volume. You can even pair it up with another speaker for true stereo sound. We'll get to the sound quality of this in a bit. There's also the option to switch between input options, which I'll cover shortly. So it's a fairly basic app that, well, has the basics covered. To be honest though, once the speaker is set up, you're unlikely to use this app again, as you can easily play music on this speaker using either Apple AirPlay, Amazon Alexa, Tidal Connect, and also Spotify Connect as well. So not only does this mean that you can easily stream music directly to it from some of the most common audio platforms available, but you can also add it as part of a multi-room music system in either Alexa or on Apple AirPlay. Now there is one glaring omission here, and it is deliberate. This speaker has no mic. That's right, a smart speaker without a mic. Now Edifier market this as a privacy feature, as it's one less mic in your house listening to everything that you do. which I guess it kind of is. But I would have preferred to have had a mic on it and then had the option to mute the mic on the speaker, as I think most people when buying a smart speaker would actually want a mic. So that does mean that if you want to operate this speaker using your voice, well, you're gonna need to do that from either your phone, maybe an Apple HomePod, or from something like a Amazon Echo speaker as well. It is easy enough to do, but it just means it's an extra device that you need to have to operate the speaker with your voice. You can't ask it directly to just play play music. You also can't play music to it from an external audio source either, like a turntable, as there's no aux-in option like a USB-C port or a 3.5mm audio jack, which I think will be disappointing for some, but it's a feature that I think most people won't miss. You can, however, play music to this speaker from any Bluetooth enabled device, such as your phone, your tablet, your laptop, as this speaker is also equipped with a Bluetooth mode as well. Now that is a feature that I think far more people will be grateful for. And switching from Wi-Fi to Bluetooth mode is as easy as either touching the 3 dots on the top of the speaker or switching between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth mode in the Edifier Home app. You will be able to tell which mode the speaker is in, as the center light at the top of the speaker will either glow white for Wi-Fi or blue for Bluetooth. Now let's get into the speaker specs, because you can actually take the speaker grill off of these and have a look at what's underneath. Here we have a 19mm silk tweeter handling your trebles and higher frequencies, with a 4-inch woofer handling your bass and mids. Now for comparison's sake, the Amazon Echo has a 3-inch woofer, so the woofer in the Edifier is 33% bigger, which should give you some idea of how much louder this can go. Power-wise, you are getting 15 watts of power from the tweeter alone. Add the 25 watts from the woofer and you get 40 watts of power all up. So how do they actually sound? Well, I'll give you my thoughts on this speaker after the sound test so that you can hear it for yourself first. Do bear in mind that you're listening to a recording though, so it's not going to sound as good as though you were in the same room with me, but hopefully it gives you a bit of a good idea as to how the speaker sounds. So what did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed listening to this. There was a real depth to the bass that wasn't common with most compact speakers. The treble has a bit of a boost here too, so it's definitely a bit of a V-shaped profile, but it wasn't overdone, which meant that the bass came through with real presence and the vocals still came through super clear without being shrill. Play Billie Eilish's No Time to Die, which is a track that I love to test with, as it's a classic Bond soundtrack with soaring vocals, guitars, and backing orchestras all vying for your attention. The vocals come through clear, as does the backing violins, which aren't drowned out by the bass. Move on to something a little more bassy, a good bit of Beastie Boys or Chemical Brothers, and that bass really comes through, but again without overpowering the rest of the track. And when you crank this speaker up, well, when it comes to volume, the Edifier MS58 absolutely surprised me with how loud it could get. It is room-filling sound and then some. So whether you've got a few mates around your house, hosting a party, or just listening by yourself, this speaker will effortlessly deliver sound with power. However, it is worth noting that at higher volumes with bass-heavy tracks, there is some audio distortion and vibration and resonance in the speaker case itself, purely because there is so much power coming out of the speaker at those higher volumes, which honestly isn't unexpected in such a compact speaker. So it's a speaker that's best played at low to medium volumes, but that's still louder than most other compact speakers out there. The only thing that I think is missing from this speaker is a graphic equalizer. There is no way for you to change the sound profile of these speakers like you can with a Sonos or an Alexa device. I'm quite happy with how it sounds though, but I appreciate that some people like to fiddle with the equalizer based on their listening preferences. So if Edifier could add that to their home app, I think that would be great. I'll let you know in the comments down below actually if they get back to me on whether they're going to do this. So should you buy it? Well, the Edifier MS58 is an impressive speaker that balances style with substance. It looks great, and coupled with good sound quality makes it a compelling choice for those looking at buying a smart speaker without spending a fortune. Is it really a smart speaker though? Well, without a mic, I'd have to say no. What it is though is a great connected speaker, as it connects to a number of different smart home and music streaming services. It's not the most feature-packed speaker on the market, but it delivers where it counts with good audio quality. Sure, speakers like the Sonos Era 100 deliver better sound, but then again they also cost twice the price. There are smart speakers that are also cheaper like the Amazon Echo, but then they don't sound as good as this. So if you want that perfect middle ground of an affordable compact speaker that delivers good sound and goes loud, then the Edifier MS58 is certainly worth a look. I will put product links to them in the description down below so you can go check them out for yourself. If you want to check out some more smart wireless speakers, be sure to check out the links up here. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.